I'm very grateful to invite today's speaker, Dr. Arnav Hazara sir. He is assistant professor in the Department of Electrical and Electronics Engineering, Birla Institute of Technology and Science, Pilani, and he is going to talk about the hybrid graphene field effect transistor. So these are this is some novel devices which has a low power devices. So now, for the more information about this topic, I request our speaker to please conduct his presentation, sir. Arnab, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Ankit. Thanks for the introduction. Okay, so I can share my screen now, no?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so first of all, thanks to all of you for giving me the opportunity to present my work here. And I also say thanks to Dr. Kaushik Datta for inviting me for delivering my work. So here today I am going to discuss slightly different types of device, that is hybrid graphene field effect transistors. You are already familiar with multiple field effect devices, and the most conventional one is the metal oxide field effect transistor. But now, the recent days, if you see the tradition, the different new materials are introduced in field effect transistor design. Graphene is that type of new materials is introducing for field effect device fabrication. But now today, I'm mostly focusing over the hybrid graphene field effect transistor, where the graphene is not only be used intrinsically, it will be used along with some other nanocomposites form. There, some metal oxides or metal nanoparticles or some other materials can be incorporated within the channel materials, and the whole channel will be implemented in field effect transistor. In this talk, basically, I will try to focus on the application part of this hybrid graphene FET. Application means what we are doing actually in our lab, the different sensing application for the detection of different species of chemicals in form of some volatile organic compounds, sometimes different gases. So basically, we will see the hybrid graphene FET for that type of application. Okay, so before going to the detailed talk, I just want to show you the beautiful campus of BITS Pilani. So I have added 4 pictures here. The first one and the larger one is the BITS Pilani campus. And we have another 3 campus in Dubai, and one in Goa, and another in Hyderabad. So this campus is quite beautiful, and you are welcome here all time to see the campus as well as the facilities here we have. I also show you my small facility in our electronics department, but we have prepared, we have developed by using some government fund. So here we have given the name as Nanomaterials Device Laboratory. We have the facility for synthesizing different nanoscale materials. different metal oxides, some 2D materials, and we fabricate few simple devices for multiple applications like sensing application, memory application, etc. Now come to the outline of this talk. There's 5 major topics I'll try to cover. Of course, it depends on the time. The basics of graphene FET I will discuss, where not the very detailed theoretical part will be discussed, only the basic operating principle I will discuss, which will be useful to understand the rest of the work, which is the hybrid GFET. Then the second thing, I also discuss about some field effect transistor by using the derivative of graphene. Derivative of graphene are the graphene oxides and reduced graphene oxides. So you will see that how the field effect transistor can behave like a behaves with a graphene derivatives channel. Also, we will discuss metal oxide, graphene oxide hybrid channel based FET, and noble metals like gold, palladium, platinum, this type of materials in its nano form, if we incorporate in geofilm, and then if we use for FET application, how it can work and how it can be implemented for multiple applications. Finally, we will see the noble metals, metal oxides, and graphene, these ternary hybrid materials for FET applications. Of course, the last part is under progress, so it's not completed fully, but I will try to give some idea. So first, I just want to discuss about the background of this GFET or graphene FET. All of you know that downsizing of transistors, and now the transistor reaches around in 20 nanometers channel length around. So many researchers think that we are at the limit of the downsizing of conventionally used silicon-based MOSFETs. So to overcome the situation, you know that multiple techniques have been taken, where we are using multiple gate electrode, the gate for fabricating the MOSFETs. We can say the double gate MOSFETs, triple gate MOSFET, quadruple gate, surrounding gates. So this type of different now structure we are using. Not only that, the FinFET, which is 2 double gate lateral structure, become very popular and commercially using for fabricating multiple integrated circuits. At the same time, with increasing the technology over the MOSFETs only, here we are also looking that multiple new materials are introducing for the new new types of FET fabrication. And you know the CNT, carbon nanotubes, are one of the most popular nanoscale materials, has already been used for the FET application. Under this situation, we are considering here the graphene as a serious contender, mostly due to the high mobility and high velocity saturation and the 2-dimensional nature. So graphene we will consider as a new kind of material to implement FET structure because of its mainly 2 advantages: high mobility and purely 2-dimensional structure. It has multiple advantages we will discuss slowly. We can see the background of the graphene FET. It was started around, invented or firstly reported in 2004. And then onward, number of papers has been reported on the graphene FET. Several models has been reported, but mostly they're based on simple drift diffusion model. If we see the models and mechanism has been explained for the GFET, they are mostly applied on the long channel device. If they are applied for the short channel device, but they are not smaller than the mean free path of the electrons inside the graphene. That means the models is not implemented in the ballistic regime. So there is a lot of opportunities still exist to do a work over the modeling of graphene field effect transistor where the short channel effect can be considered. If we consider the graphene FET, there is a nearest competitor is the CNT FET, carbon nanotubes. Carbon nanotubes was invented much before than the graphene. And now the CNT FET is almost in mature stage, and a lot of commercial devices has already been fabricated by CNT FET. But CNT have several limitations. It have poor control over its chirality and the diameter. And you know that chirality and diameter basically control the electronic properties of CNT. Also, the CNT are tightly packed in array. So isolation of a single CNT is very difficult. So these are the limitations basically make the CNT based field effect transistor slightly difficult to use for a lot of practical applications. Under this scenario, graphene offer a very high mobility. And of course, we consider this mobility is in order of 10 to the power 4 around if the graphene is placed over a substrate also. That means the suspended graphene have very high mobility, but the graphene over the substrate is mobility is not poor. It is in 10 to the power 4 and almost higher than any other material. Because of that, it offers a very high current intensity at the on condition. So these are the two major advantages. And considering this background, a lot of research is going on based on the GFET. Now we will see the few basics about the graphene as a materials. Graphene is a fascinating materials and it's a beautiful conductor of heat and electricity. Even we can consider this is the best conductor of heat and electricity and compared to any other materials. It has the flexible nature. It can fold it without breaking. And that is the advantage to use this graphene for the flexible electronics over the flexible substrate. Graphene itself chemically inert and stable. If we see the band structure of graphene, that completely different than the insulator and metal of conventional materials. Conventional materials, what we know, near the band edges, it shows parabolic nature. But graphene shows completely conical structure. Also, the insulating materials, their valence band is completely filled and conduction band is empty. Whereas metal, there we can see the partially filled conduction band. But in case of graphene, we can see the valence band and conduction band meet at a particular point, which is called Dirac point. Because of this typical nature, it shows semi-metallic behavior, not completely semiconductor, not completely metal. It shows semi-metallic behavior. Now, few words I will discuss about the graphene FET, the same materials when we implemented in FET structure. You can compare this FET structure with your conventional MOSFET, and you can get a easy matching in the structure. But the difference is the structure that we are considering for graphene FET is a thin film technology. Here, one by one layer is deposited and the FET is fabricated. You can see here the substrate is a silicon or silicon dioxide, silicon with silicon dioxide. The back oxide is silicon dioxide can consider, and substrate is silicon itself. Here some metal contact is taken for the back gate contact. So the whole thing can consider as a substrate. This white layer is indicating the graphene. There is another top oxide layer. Most of the cases, this is silicon dioxide itself, or some other high-K dielectric material can use. Then a top electrode and source and drain is created directly top from the channel material. So the fabrication of this device is much easier than any conventional MOSFET. and need a lot of need very simple steps and simple facilities to fabricate it. Now, if we see the performance, there is a significant carrier concentration modulation we can see in the channel material, which is graphene only, by the application of gate to source voltage. If we change the gate to source voltage, we can easily modulate the carrier concentration of the channel. So basically it shows a capacitive structure, and because of the gate to source voltage, there are some electrons are injected in the channel materials, channel region, and it can modulate the effective carrier concentration. Now this gate control must be increased if we use some high K dielectric materials. So also we can use lower thickness of the oxide layer so that the gate control may increase over the channel.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, if we compare this structure with a normal conventional MOSFET structure, then in case of MOSFET, we have silicon layer above the oxide layer, back oxide layer, and it is either P type or N type, and then we apply the gate voltage, that inversion take place. So is it the same concept?
No.
Do we have to dope the graphene with a P and N type?
This is not the same concept. In case of conventional MOSFET, the substrate is taking part for the conduction by forming of inversion layer. We apply suitable gate voltage, and initially it can consider as the accumulation, then depletion, and then further inversion. When the inversion occurs, there is a highly doped source and drain region that become connected by the inverting layer. Okay, so inversion layer is created in the substrate itself. Substrate may consider as P type or N type. For the N-channel MOSFET, we consider the P type substrate. But here, for this particular device, the substrate is not taking part in the conduction because channel is a separate material which is deposited over the substrate, and that is taking part in current conduction, where the carrier concentration of this channel can be modulated by gate voltage. So the channel is not the part of substrate. Channel is completely a different material.
Okay, thank you.
So here we can see the one important point we should note: the term direct voltage always be considered for the consideration of the G. Direct voltage is that particular voltage where the that particular voltage applied from the gate terminal with respect to source, where the carrier concentration of electron and hole become equal in the channel. So at that point, we can see the minimum current or minimum current density at the channel region, and that condition can consider as a off condition. So the direct voltage can be defined in multiple ways. Here in the second point, I have written that gate potential when Fermi level passes through the direct point level. Okay, so when the Fermi level overlap with the direct point level at particular voltage, there we can say this is the direct voltage. Here you can see the graph here showing the carrier density as a function of channel voltage. Now the channel voltage, of course, be controlled by the gate voltage by the application of VGS voltage. The negative channel voltage is responsible for the higher concentration of hole. If one can assume the graphene itself initially showing P-type behavior, or hole is the majority carrier, with increase of gate to source voltage, then the carrier concentration or hole concentration become decreased. And then after a point, we can observe where the hole and electron concentration equal. If we increase the gate voltage further, then the electron become the majority carrier and the current conduct through the electron only. Okay, so this type of behavior is called the ambipolar behavior or ambipolar nature, and that is the backbone of the graphene FET. I will discuss this thing in greater detail with energy band diagram. So now here we can say the channel potential can be represented by the difference between the Fermi position, Fermi energy level, and the direct point location. How we can relate those things. It can be easily understood by the energy band diagram is drawn in the channel region. For this explanation, we are considering the graphene FET is a, top gate device only. Back gate voltage we are not applying here. Also, we are considering the drain to source voltage is 0, or one can consider very small. Under this condition, we can say the graphene channel in between source and drain can show this type of band structure. Here, initially, we are considering the valence band is partially filled by electron. So partially filled by electron signify the rest of the part is vacant. That means hole is the majority carrier. Okay, so hole is the majority carrier signify that the application of is very small drain to source voltage, the current will be conducted due to the hole majority carrier. So now here we will discuss case by case. The case 1, when the gate to source voltage we are applying below direct point voltage. So at that point, the Fermi level will be located below the ED level, that is the direct point level. So the hole is the majority carrier. If we decrease the gate to source voltage further, of course, this EF will be shifted lower and the hole concentration will increase, as well as the channel conductivity will increase. Now, case 2 we will consider when the Fermi level is exactly aligned over the direct point level. Of course, this condition says the electron and hole concentration is equal. And at that point, we can consider the channel voltage is 0 and minimum carrier density we can consider here, and conductivity of this channel is very low. And the case 3 we can consider when the gate to source voltage is greater than the direct point voltage. At that point, channel voltage can consider as less than 0 as per the expression I have shown in the 2 slides back. So here the electron is the majority carrier and the current conduction is done by considering electron as the majority carrier. This is very simple to consider because drain to source voltage is considered as 0. So only the gate voltage is changing, and depending on that, the carrier concentration is modulating. Okay. So one can consider the device will be on at this initial condition when hole is the majority carrier, and one can consider the device is on when we are considering the case 3 when electron is the majority carrier. But case 2 is the condition when the carrier concentration is minimum, or we can say the electron and hole is equal almost. That is the off condition of the device. Now we will see slightly different situation when the drain to source voltage is much greater than 0. Okay, so if that thing is happening, then we can see the different condition. I have divided the whole situation in 5 different cases. Gate to source voltage below direct point voltage. So the most of the channel where we are looking, the hole is the majority carrier, but at the source end, Fermi level is slightly more closer to the direct point level, because we know the drain voltage is applied between drain to source is minimum at the source end and maximum at the drain end, because source end is connected to ground. In case 2, when the gate voltage equal with the direct point voltage, but under this condition, due to the finite drain to source voltage, we will see the merging of the ED and EF level is only occur near the source end, and rest of the channel there the whole majority is showing. Okay. Case 3, where we can see the gate to source voltage is in between V direct plus VDS and V direct. So if we consider this particular condition, then the merging of this EF and ED can consider any position in between the channel. So left side, that is towards the source end, we can see the electron is the majority carrier, but towards the drain side, we can see the hole is the majority carrier. So when we are applying the drain to source voltage, then electron can flow from source to drain side, and the hole can flow from the drain to source. So basically, current is flowing in the same direction, that is drain to source. Case 4 is the condition when the gate to source voltage is equal with the V Dirac as well as the drain to source voltage. So coincidence of the EF and ED is looking at the drain end. And finally, we will see the case 5 when the gate to source voltage beyond the Dirac voltage and the drain to source voltage, where we can see there is a separation between EF and ED also at the drain end. That is the extreme case. And further, if we increase the drain to gate to source voltage, conductivity of the channel will increase due to the increase of the electron, and the FET will conduct more and more. There is almost no limitation. Okay, so this thing actually I have tried to visualize with you, because rest of the device what I am going to discuss, it mainly based on this principle. Okay, so now I am moving to the next topic, that is graphene oxide FET. So now onward, I will discuss my work, because if you see the literature, here most of the cases the graphene FET is reported. Graphene oxide FET is reported only for specific applications. As our work is application specific, so we choose graphene oxide as the channel material instead of pure graphene. Okay. So here the background of this graphene oxide, it is slightly different than the pure graphene. Pure graphene is showing some hexagonal structure, and only the sp2 hybridization can show. But when we consider this graphene as a graphene oxide form, there different oxygen species are available over the 2D surface of graphene in functionalized form in different bond or different functionalization is formed over the graphene surface. Now, the graphene oxide can also be considered in reduced form, and which is called the reduced graphene oxide. That means the selective removal of few oxygen species from the graphene oxide surface can form a reduced graphene oxide. The researchers are highly familiar with all these terms, the graphene oxide, and reduced graphene oxide, but there is no such boundary to say that which material will be reduced graphene oxide and which material will be only graphene oxide. Only one can compare between two materials considering the reduction level. Okay. Now here, the graphene and graphene oxide based field effect transistor we have fabricated in our lab, and we have tested it for the VOC sensing application, or volatile organic compound sensing application. Actually, here I should introduce about the few points about the VOC sensing, what is it and why this is required. Actually, you can see that multiple sensors are available in market for detecting different natural stimulus. Suppose one can want to detect temperature. There is temperature sensor available. Okay, so suppose we want to use some microphone. There is some electromechanical sensors available. So here the gas sensor or chemical sensor is one kind of sensor which can detect different chemical species or different gases or vapors, and it have multiple applicability in our society. One major application where we are working, that is breath analysis. That means human breath is consists of different gases and volatile organic compounds. If we detect them properly, we can diagnose different diseases in early stage. Actually, we are working on that area, and here we are using this graphene FET for detecting different volatile organic compounds, those were available in breath. Okay, so the application part should be slightly clear, so it gives the motivation of the work. So here, basically, now I can back to the topic that sensitivity amplification. Sensitivity means we are basically saying that sensitivity of a sensor or of a chemical sensor, we will see how the sensitivity of a sensor can be amplified in graphene or graphene oxide field effect transistor based sensor. So we can directly go to the device what we have fabricated in our lab by using graphene oxide as the channel material. First, very important observation should mention, our device is backgated device. It's not the top-gated one. In the initial diagram, what I shared with you, that was top gate and backgate, both was there. But here we are using the backgated device only. That means the substrate itself behaving like a gate terminal. Because we are using this backgated device, we need to keep this channel open to the atmosphere, because our purpose to sense some substance, different molecules, chemical molecules. So we want to keep our graphene channel materials exposed to the ambient. Okay. So how we can fabricate this, I will discuss. We have taken the single layer of graphene oxide. As we purchase, this is single layer, but this is not actually all are single layer. That can consider as a few layer. Mostly we can find the 2 and 3 layers of the graphene oxides. We prepare a 0.2 weight % of stable solution of graphene oxide. And then we consider a substrate. Substrate is a silicon dioxide substrate. There's a P-type silicon, and where a SiO2 layer on both the side, in the top and bottom. Oxide layer is 90 nanometer thick. And we have taken a contact from the backside of this silicon substrate by a selective etching of this SiO2 layer. Okay, so this area has been opened because we need to take a gate contact from this backside. Okay, now the graphene oxide layer was deposited over the surface, over the SiO2 layer, and 2 electrodes was taken that can consider as a source and drain. There is no specific specification for source and drain, both are identical. So depending on the polarity of the applied bias, one can define one contact as a source and another contact as a drain. So now the biasing arrangement has been shown here. You can see the gate to source voltage is applied between source and substrate, and the drain to source voltage has been applied between source and drain, where source has been connected to the ground. So basically the device is a 3-terminal device. Okay. So now graphene layer is showing in form of some flakes. This is not a continuous layer, because continuous graphene layer is very difficult to available, because these are generally found in flakes form. There's a small piece of 1 or 2 layers. Okay. Now we will see some few characterizations, and we will see the detail of these channel materials, detail of this graphene oxide layer. One point I missed here, the reduction of this graphene oxide. I have already discussed the reduced graphene oxide. Actually, graphene oxide can be reduced by using a suitable reducing agent. Hydrogen hydrate is a reducing agent, which can be used to reduce this graphene oxide or selectively remove the oxygen species from the graphene oxide to make this reduced graphene oxide. I will discuss why the reduced graphene oxide is so important, because reactivity is increased in the reduced graphene oxide due to the unavailability of this oxygen species. So the materials become more active to react with the surface, more active to react with the different gases and vapor available in the ambient. Now, this is the few characterizations. If you work with graphene or graphene oxides, you will see the Raman spectroscopy is the initial technique which is most important to characterize the graphene or graphene oxide layer. It has two peaks, two characteristics peak. One is called the G peak, another is called the D peak. So this two peak is basically considered to characterize the quality of this graphene or graphene oxide. Here in figure A, I have represented the GO, graphene oxide. In the figure B, I have represented here reduced graphene oxide. Okay. So the G peak is basically originated from the sp2 hybridized carbon atom. That means C double bond C, C single bond C. This type of sp2 hybridized carbons is basically responsible for generating this G band. But the D band is basically originating from the defects due to availability of the defects or defects associated with sp3 hybridized bond. However, I'm not going to the very detail of this. So basically, we can observe few shifting and ratio of two peaks there, basically separating these two materials. If we see the G peak is slightly shifted left as compared to the pure graphene oxide, that indicating the formation of more defects. And also, the whole thing has been supported by the intensity ratio of the D peak and G peak, which is obtained 1.06 for the first one, for the GO, that increase 1.38 in case of reduced graphene oxide, because the defects is increased, and due to the reduction, we are getting this reduced defective layer, which have more reactivity over the ambient species. Here in another figure, you can directly see how this graphene layer is looking like. The graphene layer is basically here single or double layer, or sometimes that is 3 layers or multiple layers. So they are deposited over the silicon substrate. This white part is actually silicon substrate, okay? And the dark part is the graphene layer. They are not continuous, but they are connected, okay? So you can assume in between source and drain, these clusters of graphene layer is connected actually. Sometimes they are overlapped. When they are overlapped, there you can consider that is double layer. Okay. Now, in this figure C, that is called the AFM image, atomic force microscopy image. Similarly, to realize the morphology of this substrate, here also we can, depending on the contrast of the color, we can identify the single layer, double layer, etc. Figure 2 is here the last one is the depth profile measurement that also done from this AFM study. So the depth profile is showing the thickness of this graphene layer is 1.5 nanometer. If you see the literature, the graphene is actually 0.4 micron thick around, because the single layer atomically thick, that is almost 0.4 micron. But here we are getting 1.5 micron, 1.5 nanometer. I'm sorry, that was 0.4 nanometer thickness for the pure graphene. And here we are getting 1.5 nanometer because there is a lot of oxygen species is available in the top and bottom side of this graphene layer. So they are responsible for increasing the thickness of this layer. Okay, so here we are getting 1.5 nanometer thickness. The last characterization, that is called XPS, X-ray photoelectron spectroscopy. XPS spectra is basically showing that which type of oxygen species is available over the graphene or reduced graphene oxide surface. So here, the one major peak we basically observe in the XPS spectra of C1s peak, C indicate carbon, and 1s spectra we are looking here. The main peak is originating from the aromatic rings of the graphene, C double bond O or C single bond O. Additionally, the other peaks at the right-hand side at the higher binding energy, we're getting the C single bond O, that is epoxy and alkoxy, C double bond O, and C double OH. These are the different groups is considered or available over the RGO surface. So basically, these oxygen species are connected through the sp3 hybridization, and they are basically playing the role for gas or vapor sensing. Okay, so pure aromatic rings have no role to play. They are basically playing in a role in conduction of current. but the surface reaction is basically happening by these oxygen species. They are basically formed in sp3 hybridization. Now we will see few electrical characterizations. So initially, when we fabricated this device, we tested this device in 3 different ambient. These are very common ambient. We consider synthetic air. Synthetic air is a dry air. Here we can consider 80% nitrogen and 20% oxygen. Their mixture is the synthetic air. We tested this device in argon ambient, which is purely inert, or you can say that is oxygen-free ambient. And last one is the pure oxygen ambient. Okay, basically we try to see the ambient effect over this graphene fate or graphene oxide fate, because our main intention was to fabricate the graphene oxide-based gas or vapor sensor. That's why we tested this for different conditions. Also, we increased the temperature of the device at the of the measurement. Initially, we considered it is for the room temperature, 25 degrees centigrade, then 75 degrees centigrade, 125 degrees centigrade, and finally, it was, that was the 3 temperature, and that is another different curve. So you can see, now you can compare these transfer characteristics, which was measured at constant VDS voltage. Drain to source voltage 1.4 millivolt was considered for all the 3 temperature. Now you can try to match this drain to source current as a function of gate to source voltage. This variation is highly matching with our initial discussion of the basic graphene field effect transistor. Initially, we are assuming this device is p-type in nature, that is, hole is the majority carrier. And then with increase of gate to source voltage, electrons are injecting in the channel region, and the effective hole concentration is decreasing. That is responsible for lowering the current. So basically you are increasing the gate to source voltage, but effective hole concentration is decreasing. Here we are getting the minimum current. That is obviously the direct point. So this gate voltage we can consider as the direct point voltage. And beyond the direct point voltage, the current is increasing linearly almost, because electron is the majority carrier here, and that is responsible for the current conduction. Same curve has been shown in different pattern at the high temperature, 75 degrees centigrade. At this particular temperature, surface reactivity of this graphene oxide increase. Due to the high surface reactivity, initially the whole concentration become reduced and few oxygen species are removed, and that responsible for increasing the electron concentration initially in the argon ambient, because argon ambient is the oxygen-free ambient that is responsible for removing of few oxygen species. So due to the lower level of hole, we are getting the immediate decrement of the current, and we are getting the direct point much earlier. And then onward, we are getting a continuous increment and linear and first rapid increment of current. Similarly, for in case of oxygen, surface oxygen species was increased, and we are getting the direct point at the higher gate to source voltage. At 125 degrees centigrade, we are getting almost similar interval between the 3 different ambient. So basically, when we are plotting this direct point position as a function of temperature, we can see near about 75 degrees centigrade or 80 degrees centigrade, the deviation between the direct points is maximum. So basically, this temperature zone we can choose for the sensing. Okay, so from there, we decided to choose the operating temperature of this device for the gas or vapor sensing. Now here, I have added one simplified image for the whole device. If you see the device I shown here in the full structure, there is graphene layer, there is SiO2 layer, there is a silicon layer. Doped silicon is considered as a gate electrode because this substrate is highly doped and considered as a conducting layer almost. SiO2 is the insulator separating the graphene channel and the drain and the gate terminal. If we consider this 3 layer in a capacitive structure, And basically gate to source voltage is applied between this capacitive structure, then it will be easy to understand how the electron concentration increasing in the graphene oxide layer. You can see the gate to source voltage is applied, and we can relate the electron injection, which is gate to source voltage dependent, that can be written in this form. This form is nothing but Q equal to CV. Q equal to CV, we know the relation of a capacitor. If we increase the voltage across a capacitor, then the charge over the plate can increase. They are proportional, and the proportionality constant is the capacitance. So here, basically, if you consider this small e, multiply with this n, that will represent the charge. So that Q equal to C, C is the epsilon naught epsilon r, that is the dielectric constant of silicon dioxide, and epsilon naught is the absolute permittivity, and TOX is the oxide thickness. So this is representing the unit capacitance, multiplying with gate to source voltage. So if we increase the gate to source voltage, basically we are increasing the charge in the channel region. Okay, so positive increment of the gate to source voltage, we are injecting the electrons in the channel. Okay, and that is responsible for lowering the effective hole concentration. That's why you are getting the minimum current at the point where the electron and hole concentration is equal. Further increment of the gate to source voltage, then the channel is full of electron, and electron become the majority carrier, and there we have looking the linear increment. Okay, so these are the mechanism. Now I will show the sense. Yes.
I have a small question, sir.
Yes.
In the figure A, when the gate to source voltage is 0, so my on current is already 4 milliampere. So can we comment that my device is always on type of device?
Yes. Of course, it's a very good observation. I forgot to say. Okay, initially we are getting some current. Okay, because device is a depletion mode device. I will discuss in the next topic. Initially, we are considering the graphene oxide. Okay, so graphene oxide is full of some oxygen species over its surface. So they are occupying few electrons over the surface, and that is responsible to increase the hole concentration in the channel. So hole become the majority carrier from the initial stage. When the gate to source voltage is 0, still there we are getting a finite current because of hole is the majority. Because electrons are engaged in the formation of some bond with the surface oxygen. Okay, so this is an on-type device initially when the gate to source voltage is not applied. But when the gate to source voltage is sufficient and reach to the direct point level, then it can be behaved like a off. Okay, so if we consider this an on-off device, then it can consider as a depletion mode device. After application of some threshold voltage, we are getting a off current. Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So now here I'm going to the application part. That is, we did some methanol sensing here by using this graphene oxide field effect transistor. So here for the 3 different temperature, we tested the device for 3 different concentration level of methanol, that is 50 ppm, 150 ppm, and 250 ppm. Okay. Now here we can see the one curve is of course considering for the synthetic air. That is our reference ambient. Okay, so when we are changing the ambient, this IDVGS characteristics has been shifted. We can focus over this 100 degrees centigrade characteristics, that is showing enough separation between all the characteristics. So this black one is the IDVGS for the synthetic air, and for methanol for different concentration, we are getting this colorful IDVGS curve. And of course, they have shifted towards the lower VGS value because the surface reaction, because methanol is reacting with the surface oxygen species and removed in form of CO and CO2 and H2O, and that make the few electrons free to the channel, and that basically increase the electron concentration over the channel due to the surface reaction, or effectively reduce the hole concentration. So we are getting the early direct point. However, that is not more important thing to consider here. Basically, we are considering the sensitivity. sensitivity is measured between synthetic air ambient and the test ambient. Test ambient is the methanol ambient. Anyone can consider as the test ambient, any ppm, any concentration level. So if we compare by using this formula, that is change of VDS and the initial, change of IDS and the initial IDS. Okay, so at any point you can consider this is suppose the IDS current for the air ambient. Here this is the IDS current for the suppose 50 ppm of methanol. We can compare in this form difference between the IDS current and the initial IDS current in air. Then if we plot that with respect to the gate to source voltage, the interesting property we are looking here, we are getting a sensitivity peak at particular voltage. Suppose this is near about near 5 volt, where we are getting the maximum sensitivity, and that sensitivity is crossing almost 100. Okay, but in rest of the part, we are getting, suppose initially the sensitivity is very close to 0, that is almost negligible sensitivity. Here in the back side, that means not backside, at the VGS greater than the Dirac point voltage, we are getting another peak at the higher voltage, higher VGS. Similar thing we are getting here in case of 75 degrees centigrade and 125 degrees centigrade, but the 100 degrees centigrade one is the more prominent. Now I will show you how that can be useful for the application. Here we have now fitted some curve, and we obtained that we have decided exactly that what VGS voltage is responsible for this peak. We are getting the 5 volt, and 13 volt is responsible for the 2 peak of the sensitivity. Now we tested our device for the transient response for the sensor at 3 different voltage: gate to source voltage 0, gate to source voltage 5 volt, and gate to source voltage 13 volt, 3 different voltages. So VGS 0, actually the device is working like a 2-terminal sensor. At that point, we can see the sensitivity is very small, 1.95% only, because you can see here what is the sensitivity, very closer to 0. So we are getting 1.95%. Majority carrier is whole. So in presence of methanol vapor, we are getting a decrement of current. Okay, drain current is decreasing, that is resistance is increasing. Near this 5 volt, we are getting the same device, that sensitivity is increased to 127.93%, around 128%. Okay, that is the sensitivity amplification. This particular gate to source voltage sensitivity is amplified from 1.95% to 128%. And here in the last one, we are also getting an amplified sensitivity at 13 volt, which is here, but the majority carrier is electron here. So the drain current is increasing in presence of reducing vapor methanol, and we are getting some sensitivity, which is 82.35. Of course, the 5 volt sensitivity is much preferable because it's showing high value, as well as it working at the low gate to source voltage. Okay. So here this thing is summarized. So we are getting 66 times amplification at gate to source voltage at 5 volt and 42 times amplification of gate to source voltage as 13 volt. So these are the novel concept is considered here for this device. By application of the gate to source voltage, sensitivity can be amplified. That gas sensors sensitivity can amplify. Here actually I have given the mechanism for this whole thing, but I'm not discussing this all in detail because it will be difficult to understand in a small time, because already 1 hour is going to cover. So I can just say this is the situation of sensitivity is increased because carrier concentration, basic carrier concentration is very small, and which is near to the whole concentration. So that basically comparable that make this change of the carrier concentration due to the gases and vapor become significant as compared to the denominator. So the whole mechanism part is showing, but I'm not discussing this thing in detail. Quickly, I will move to the next topic, that is metal oxide geo-hybrid FET, because I have given the title as hybrid FET. So few things should be discussed on the hybrid FET, because the last topic was only for the geo-based field effect transistor, that not the hybrid one. So here we will consider a different material. The material is, of course, graphene oxide is hybridized with some titanium dioxide nanoparticle. Titanium dioxide is a popular metal oxides, have a good sensitivity towards different gases and vapor. Now, initially when we started this work, we was not sure that how much titanium dioxide nanoparticle should add with graphene oxide layer so that we can get the FET behavior. Because if we consider any materials as a channel material, it will not show the field effect behavior. Only graphene is showing. So when I will hybridize that, so what exactly ratio should maintain? So here we consider for multiple device. Actual testing device was more than this. Here I have shown the 9 variation. Where we started the TiO2 nanoparticles layer, that was a solution actually. Here this is the solution of TiO2 nanoparticles. And here this is the pure graphene oxide solutions. Okay, this is looking like that in solution form. We mixed both of them with these different combinations. So the this one we have given the sample number when the pure TiO2 nanoparticles was there. Is 2 were the 99% TiO2 nanoparticles, where the 1 weight percent of graphene oxide was there. So here, so in that way, we have mixed in different format, and here this is the different combinations. And slowly you can see in the lower samples, here we are getting the 100% graphene oxide, then a 1 volume percent TiO2 is added with 99% GO, so all possible combinations was there. So you can start with this S1. Here, this is the dense nanoparticle of TiO2. Here, the nanoparticle density is slightly less. In S3, there is slightly less. S4, you can see there is slight discretization. S5, discretization is clearly observable. Here in the S6, we are getting the nanoparticles are completely isolated with each other, placed over the geosurface. And this S7, they have more isolated over the geosurface, and S8, they have almost completely, there is no touch with each other, and they are not making the uniform distribution also in S8. And S9 is the pure graphene oxide layer. So in that way, we change the hybridization of geo layer with different level of titanium dioxide nanoparticle. This is the TEM image, transmission electron microscopy. So this one is the FESEM. So scanning electron micrograph it was, and this was the TEM, transmission electron microscopy. Here we obtained the actual size of the TiO2 nanoparticle. It was around 12 nanometer. And here this is the despacing of the material to identify that which type of material it is. It was antis titanium dioxide. Actually, we worked earlier multiple over this PTiO2 nanoparticle. Actually, this TiO2 nanoparticle showing the P-type conductivity. So here some synthesis procedure is written over this, how the P-type TiO2 nanoparticle can synthesis. And this is the graphene oxide solution preparation I have discussed. So that I am not discussing in greater detail. Here you can see different characterizations where the Raman spectroscopy is taken. The combination of all the, we are looking here, the peaks or Raman modes is coming from TiO2 also, as well as the graphene also. So basically DGPK is showing that intensity is decreasing continuously, but here we are getting the peak intensity for the titanium dioxide is increasing in one direction. So basically this is the Raman spectroscopy. Here, this is the photoluminescence spectroscopy I'm not discussing here. There we have also measured the UV spectroscopy, UV visible spectroscopy to estimate the band gap of this material. There is a good modulation in the band gap. You can see the band gap variation due to the hybrid formation. Okay, so the detailed characterizations I'm not discussing. Quickly, I'm skipping this. Here, this is the XPS spectra. Is not no need to discuss in detail. This is the sensing performance of the device, considering for a arbitrary device S6. Here we found basically the materials, the hybrid materials, have a selective detection towards ethanol. It's not very selective because methanol, formaldehyde, and other VOCs are very close to it, but we are getting the maximum response for ethanol. So we decided to study of this hybrid material with ethanol as the test VOCs. Okay, so rest of the study was continued with that. This part is directly related with the FET. I just want to discuss this part slightly. For these 9 samples, we only found the ambipolar characteristics, that is IDVGS with that type of V-shape characteristics, only for S4, S5, S6, S7, S8, and S9. S9 was the pure GEO, and S8 to S4, gradually the TiO2 content was increased. With increase of TiO2 content, you can see that how the IDVGS curve has flattened. Okay, this is not maintaining this beautiful V characteristics. They are looking like a U shape. Okay, so this type of behavior was observed. So as we are getting the proper IDVGS behavior for the last 3 samples, so we considered the gas sensing study for with 3-terminal device. That means by applying the VGS voltage for this S7, S8, and S9. S9 was not considered because that was pure GEO. It did not show proper sensitivity. So these 2, S7 and S8, was considered. So here, this is the similar amplification technique we are showing. So in the IDVGS is tested in air and ethanol, and we compared those sensitivity. Response and sensitivity is almost similar meaning in this presentation. So you can consider this is sensitivity also. So here the VGS, we are getting a peak at 0.6 volt. Here we are getting 0.7 volt. So after measuring at this particular gate to source voltage, we obtain a variation of, we was able to detect ethanol up to 1 ppm. Here we are able to measure up to 500 ppb. That was very, very low concentration as compared to the other devices. And it was only possible because of this 3rd terminal voltage, what we are applying through the gate to source voltage. Just quickly, I will discuss my last topic. I'm not extending more. This topic is more related to the electronics part. So you will be interested. So I will discuss this topic and then I will conclude. Okay. So because time is not more, how much time I can discuss? Can you say?
Sir, 5 more minutes.
5 minutes. Fine. So I am concluding within 5 minutes. So here, if I consider this graphene oxide PTiO2 derivatives is a based FET as a conventional on-off device, then how it can be good? How we can consider its advantages. If we consider the pure graphene field effect transistor, it's have a significant problem or significant limitations in on-off point of view. On current is high. I have discussed in the background discussion, but off current is not so low because graphene itself behaves like a semi-metallic. Okay, so when it's behaving like a semi-metal, so how it can show a very low off current? So there is a lot of technique was used to lower the off current of the of this graphene FET. That one important technique was to fabrication of the GNR. That means graphene nanoribbons. Graphene itself a 2D materials. It formed in one-dimensional structure. So to increase the quantum confinement more and more. So discretization of the energy bands was done, and then the band gap was increased. So the GNR or graphene nanoribbons was behaves like a high band gap material. So that way people tried to increase the off current, but it was not crossed. The on-off ratio was 100 around. Also, the voltages was applied for this on-off current measurement. It was quite high and varying from average plus minus 40 volt. And you know that 40 volt is not a practical voltage for a practical application for mainstream electronics. Okay, so these are the 2 limitations. Here in this hybrid graphene FET, we try to show to overcome that limitations. So these materials are basically similar material as I have discussed in the earlier work. So I'm not discussing in greater detail. Only you can see I have considered 4 samples with different level of GEO and different level of TiO2. Here in the here I have presented the transient characteristics, current versus gate to source voltage in linear scale and the log scale. You can see the Tg1, that is pure graphene oxide, showing the 67 on-off ratio, where the 0.5 volume percent addition of the TiO2 showing the 700 on-off ratio, 1 volume percent TiO2 in GO layer showing the 2800 on-off ratio, that is in order of 10 to the power 3. And the excess addition of the TiO2 is showing the 1350 on-off ratio. So we are getting the poor as compared to the 2800. So here that is a good success. We are getting a very high on-off ratio in the hybrid field effect, hybrid graphene field effect transistor, which can be applicable for the mainstream electronics. So here you can change the on-off ratio variation. Simultaneously, we are getting a acceptable transconductance. It is in the range of 0.3 microsiemens. This is the IDVDS characteristics, but the characteristics is not completely linear because of introduction of the TiO2 in it. It's showing some semiconducting nature. It's showing some exponential behavior. Here's the energy band diagram of these materials, that how the actually hybrid channel looking like, because control addition of this PTiO2 nanoparticle, they are either bottom of this GO layer or top of this GO layer, and they are forming these beautiful junctions. Okay, so two types of junctions we have considered between TiO2 and GO, and here this is GO and TiO2, they are lateral junctions, here they are top and bottom. Basically, when we are drawing this energy band diagram by choosing different value from our characterizations as well as from the literature, we are saying that electrons are flowing from the graphene to TiO2 layer to make the equilibrium condition. Okay, so basically this junction making this GO layer the whole accumulated. Okay, and also when we consider this junction only, that GO TiO2 GO, this junction here, by the energy band diagram, we can see that the mechanism how the current become too low to show the on-off ratio to high. So it was due to the consideration of this TiO2 layer, which is p-type in nature, which was also transformed to the n-type by application of the gate to source voltage along with the GO layer, has been shown here and explained. So it need a lot of time, so I'm not explaining this. So main observation I just want to show here, the comparing with our work with the literature results, where different TiO2 and JDNO, these are the two metal oxides used for making the hybrid channel graphene oxide field effect transistors. Here you can see the on-off ratio we are getting exceptionally high as compared to others. Here this is 1, 2, 5. These are the on-off ratio. We are getting the 2800, that is very high. Of course, our mobility is poor. We are getting lower mobility because of addition of this additional materials in the graphene oxide layer. That is another point. And our VGS voltage is very good. That is 1.4. That is quite low. But the applied voltage VGS for other literature, you can see that varying at very high, 20, 10, sometime. And they're varying 80, 60. These are the things. So here I would like to conclude, skipping this other work. These are I may discuss any other time if I get any opportunity from your side. Here, this is the summary and conclusion. I would say that graphene oxide exhibit tunable carrier density with ambipolar transport by the change of gate to source voltage. At low carrier density of channel, the exchange of carrier due to the surface adsorptions and desorptions is significant and amplify the sensitivity at a particular gate to source voltage. Okay, and the p-type anatase TiO2 nanoparticle implanted few layer graphene oxide FET reported first time for efficient detection for the VOC with amplified sensitivity at suitable gate to source voltage. The hybrid channel FET GFET showed extraordinary high on-off ratio in the order of 10 to the power 3 at the room temperature, also in depletion mode operation. And these two conclusive statement I'm not discussing because I did not focus on this work in my discussion. So here, few selective publications from our group, and this is few projects, funding project we obtained. I would like to acknowledge them because all this work was performed based on the fund offered by the government of India and their funding agencies. And here my small research group, and thank you if you have any questions.
And thank you very much, sir, for this informative talk and giving us a very in-depth knowledge of the graphene FET-based transistor. I'm sure our student can explore this area more in the future. Now we have some time, so I request participants to, if you have any question, they can ask to the sir. Sir, we have some question in the chat box. If you can see in the chat.
It will be better, Ankit, if you ask to Arnab sir what is the questions.
Yes, sir. Sir, one question is, what is the limitation of graphene?
Limitations of graphene?
Of graphene material, yes.
Okay. See, I don't want to say the limitations of graphene. Graphene is a materials. Okay, so when we will consider for some particular application, then only we can say the limitations. So here I have discussed throughout for the graphene-based field effect transistor. So I can say the limitations of that, limitations of graphene field effect transistor. Yes. So basically, I have already discussed the low off current. We have discussed here in the initial discussion, the on current and mobility is very high in case of graphene-based field effect transistor, but the off current is the critical issue because graphene behaves like a semi-metallic nature. So our off means we are applying some gate to source voltage that will make the electron and hole concentration almost equal. And at that point, we are assuming current which is flowing through the drain to source is very small. But really that not very small because a metallic nature never show a very, very low current. That's why we are getting the on-off ratio very high. Okay, on-off ratio very low for a practical graphene FET. That's why we did not consider the graphene FET for the mainstream electronics till date. Lot of different methodologies has been taken for overcoming this problem. And one mechanism I have mentioned here, the formation of graphene nanoribbons, that by patterning this graphene layer, researchers are trying to incorporate few finite band gap in it, such a way this metal can behave like graphene can behave like a purely semiconductor. If this behaves like a purely semiconductor, then maybe the off current may low, okay, and the on-off ratio may increase, and then the device can be used as a good switch. Otherwise, it can't be used as a switch because we know the basic principle of any third terminal device is a switch. So it can be used as that. Okay, that is major disadvantage of this device.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, I have a doubt. As you told that the graphene have very high off current, and as the sensor, it is working as a sensor. But in the graphs, I saw it is giving a milliamperes of current when even there is no methanol or any kind of gas is there. Means in dry gas also, it is giving current. So how means we can say that it is a good sensor as it is sensing air also?
Can you say that in which reference you are
that in
saying? I should go before that?
23, slide 23.
Slide number 23. Okay, fine. Yes.
Yes. So here we can see that current is in milliamps. So even that synthetic air is the device is sensing the synthetic air also, right? So how can we say that this is a better sensor in respect of sensor?
No, it's not a better sensor. I never claimed this as a better sensor. I said that sensitivity of this device can be amplified by using a suitable gate to source voltage. Okay, I said the amplification technique. It's not a very good sensor because the example is here. The first one, when the gate to source voltage is considered, at that point the sensitivity is 1.95%. This is very low. Okay, the gate to source voltage is applied at particular point, which is here near about the 5 volt. At that particular point, we are getting a very high sensitivity. So normally, if we look that pure graphene oxide, we are using that as a sensing material, that shows moderate response, that not so a good sensor. It needs some hybridization or composites to get a good sensor. So if you see the different literature, graphene oxide is reported very less for the sensing individually. It used for with some composite with some other metal oxide, some other materials for gas sensing purpose. So that not individually a very good sensor. But here in this particular method, by applying some third terminal voltage, we are intentionally increasing the sensitivity. That's why that behaving like a good sensor. Otherwise, the sensitivity variation is not significant, because if you say this curve, if we compare between argon and the synthetic air, that's a very small difference. Okay, so your concept is correct, but our work is slightly different. Okay.
Another my question is like this temperature variations or voltage variation. Actually, on varying this temperature or voltage, same kind of variations happen in MOSFET or other devices like tunnel FET. So how does GeoFET is different from that MOSFET or tunnel FET kind of FET?
MOSFET and tunnel FET, what you are saying, all are fabricated over the silicon technology.
Yes.
Okay, so purely these are silicon technology, and their fabrication steps are well known, and they have and the base material is a semiconductor. But the silicon technology have the limitations. Exactly tunnel FET's limitations I can't say, but the normal MOSFET's limitation, we know there is a short channel effect, and there are a lot of other things like velocity saturations, and also so many things. All things can be considered in form of short channel effects. But at that point of view, we consider different strategies. Okay, so initially people try to modify the device in form of some different structure. You try to use hollow doping. You try to change the doping of the channel materials, channel area. So a lot of method was tried, and then the device structures fully changed. Multiple gates I have mentioned, multiple gates was introduced. So these are the completely different domain. But that is, this graphene FET is another domain, or the CNT FET is another domain where new materials has been introduced. In your device, in MOSFET or tunnel FET, silicon itself responsible to forming a channel. Okay, by the application of suitable gate voltage, it's showing some inversion, and that is connecting source and drain. But in these new materials, we are replacing the channel by using another kind of material. That materials have beautiful properties. Okay, CNT and Geo graphene, they both have beautiful different properties, very high mobility, which don't have in case of silicon. Okay, so these are different alternate way by that researchers are trying to overcome the short channel effects. Okay.
Another small query: if we are doing this in our simulation work, then for a gas like argon, methanol you use, what is the property we are varying actually? Like when we use biomolecules, we used to change some dielectric properties. So for gases, what is that property which actually vary this device characteristic?
Really, it's very difficult to model the gas sensing in a simulation tools, because simulation softwares are tools what you are using for the silicon-based device fabrication simulation that have very limited library. They are not applicable for any variety of new materials. Okay, so that limitation always you will face. So only the silicon-based device or those materials, some 3-5 materials, if the library is available, only you can do the simulation on that material. Okay, and gas sensing and other sensing or some photoelectric effect and energy related thing, all those have lot of ambient effect and lot of physical parameters influencing this. Okay, this is not a simple thing that your device is there and one gas is coming and that reacting. That is not the only phenomena. The
Yes.
temperature is there and so many other parallel thing that like humidity is there. So many things is applying simultaneously. So it is very difficult to model in a known simulation tools. Okay, so better go for the experimental thing if really want to develop some practical kind of device. Okay, and if exactly you want to know your answer of your question, the gas sensor, if you want to simulate this, so you have to change the carrier concentration. Okay, not the dielectric. The carrier concentration you have to consider for as a parameter for the resistive sensor. If you consider the capacitive sensor, then dielectric variation can consider. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Another question in the chat box is that all graphs are based on the measurement data or simulations.
Yes. Continue.
Sir, your shown results are basically based on the measurement data or the simulations data.
Yes.
What are the graphs you have shown in your presentation? Are they simulated one or measured one?
Okay. So that the basic things what I have discussed has been taken. That is that no graph is shown. That is theoretical thing. Is just except that from here that graphene oxide FET, all the results I have shown, all are experimental data, measured data for a real fabricated devices. Okay, no simulation has been done here.
Yes, sir. Okay, any other question from the participants? Okay, so if we have no other questions, so I like to take this opportunity to thank our speaker for giving this vibrant talk and your interacting approach make this session more interactive, sir. I also like to mention that your acceptance of this invitation in such a short notice is very appreciable, sir. I also like to show my gratitude to the Dr. Matadin Bansal, sir, for faculty in charge of IEEE student branch IIIT Jabalpur, and to Dr. Kaushik Dutta, sir, for providing enormous support for the smooth conduction of this session. So at the last, I like to thank all the participants, faculty, and staff to make this session more vibrant and interactive. So we are good to go. Kaushik Datta, sir, would you like to add some points, sir?
Oh, it's my opportunity to introduce my colleague and my senior in the PhD life,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Dr. Arnav Hajra, and he is an excellent researcher in his field. We'll meet him very soon whenever this online mode is going to the offline meeting mode. If we
Sure,
can
sir.
arrange some conference in our institute, we'd like to meet him physically. That's all from my side.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Kaushik. So I also want to say that you already came to our campus, but if we organize a event, of course, I believe in a physical event. Not this virtual is not all, enough all the time. So of course, I will happy to invite you, and I also like to see you again. Okay, so thank you.
Okay, so on the behalf of IEEE Eastern Branch of IIIT DM Jabalpur, once again, I thank you all for the joining and for your patient sharing. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I request host to please close this meeting. And I also request all of you to please give an input for this talk. The Google form, the link of Google form is already placed in the chat box. Thank you.
And thank you for inviting me from IEEE CUI.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Come. Goodbye.
Bye-bye. Abhishek, are you here?